You comfortable? I hope so. She's 14 soon enough. I'm still in a bit of pain, considering how I threw my back out yesterday doing kettlebell swings, just a few too many. And, I'm following through with doing 2 chapters at a time with this. And I just finished Attention, and I finished Freedom in the library last week. Now today, as far as events go, I've made some comments. I'd say there's this recruiting information session with the United States Air Force. And I've been trying to get the attention of different people for a long time now. Because, I deserve better than what I've been given. I deserve better. And, that's part of the pursuit of seeking attention, is that, well, you're supposed to reach out for help when you're suffering. I don't expect anyone or anything to respond naturally. And that some of it, the test, especially with Charlotte's female client in this regard, a human rights lawyer, a wounded warrior, so to speak, someone that feels compelled to help other people because of her own issues. This particular client, came from, I wouldn't say broken, but, a dysfunctional family, an alcoholic father, and a codependent mother that did nothing to abate or discourage the actions of her father, and she takes on, the client takes on the alcoholism, and she purges as bulimia or some eating disorder, and she blames she blames her ex-husband and makes him the villain of her life and plays the victim. And so there's this circular response to her life, in that she's not moving forward, and that what she wants to feel desired again. The one thing that she says in this is that, you make me feel young again, or something along those lines, or you help me. Let's see. There's other parts that, at the beginning of this, you can give me back my youth. I don't feel like these people that I keep trying to get the attention of can give me back my youth, but they can give me something that I don't have. And what's the beginning of this? So the client's name, altered name is the alternate name, rather. So it's not a real name, Chloe. Wanting attention is utterly human, but it's still stigmatized. That's so attention-seeking is a common line dispirited adults say when people act out. It gets said of the addict, the anorexic, the self-harmer, the exhibitionist, and the drama queen. We often describe people as attention-seeking as a way to justify our frustration. Underneath attention-seeking behavior lies a plea to be witnessed, however disguised and painful. Take a picture of me before I vanish into a handful of dust. And then he became dust. I like this line. It's at the beginning of this whole book. It's by D.W. Wincott. It's a psychoanalyst. It is a joy to be hidden, but disaster not to be found. And Chloe goes through this cycle of, trying to, well, not attempting to reconnect with the source of the attention, the wanting, the longing. We always go back to our younger years to find, the beginnings of our pain and so on and so forth. As if, 30 years later, that still matters. But it does matter. Why can't you just move on? Why can't you just do something else? For some people, that thing that people tell them to move on from is what gave them meaning in the first place, their task and their purpose. Fulfillment. At the top of Maslow's hierarchy. All the other stuff doesn't mean very much. It's the inverse pyramid, right? What's the point of living and having all of these base needs and these other things fulfilled? This is the intellectual dilemma. In any relationship, we might start out with enthusiastic interest, but after a while it can feel futile and unrewarding to dedicate attention to repetitive rants. It gets draining and tedious and feels inequitable. The counterfeit shows of emotion tire us and siphon our empathy. We might want to punish an attention grabber for conning us into colluding with falseness, or we lose interest. We want to protect ourselves. We pull back and withdraw the very thing most sought after, our attention. At the end of this, attention is a kind of energetic attitude. Don't get used to being alive. Be astonished by what you see. Again, so far, I don't really like these clients, but there's something to be learned from them. That's why the book was written. Chapter 6 is about freedom, and as I said, I read that in the library last week. So this is why I like this pairing of attention and freedom. Just an old dog in the corner. Isn't that right, Zoe? Anyway. The desire for freedom often shows itself through protest and rebellion. We feel restricted, imprisoned, and stifled. It's like a toddler's blind fury when strapped into a car seat. What keeps us safe and protects us also traps us. But try explaining safety to a frustrated toddler. It won't help. Distractions might work. From early childhood onwards, a lack of freedom can feel much more threatening to our aliveness than the possibility of endangerment. Now, she goes on, she talks to Sarah, S-A, without H. And Sarah is a non-practicing Muslim, a freelance therapist, trainee, and freelance journalist. Attempts to safeguard her freedom by never letting herself commit to relationships. But the rigidity of protecting freedom can become its own cage. We unshackle ourselves in one way only to reconstitute other restrictions and obstacles. Which is true. You know, we create prisons for ourselves. We try to impress people that we don't like. For reasons that we don't understand, and we tolerate things that we shouldn't. For the great lie. I know it's really depressing to think about it like that, but what is the great lie? The great lie is that security is infallible. That good times will always persist. You know, the illusion of security, that's it. That's really it. Or the illusion of being forever young. You know, the durability of ourselves. But we are so vulnerable, right? And so this is, you know, I look at this a little bit differently today. You know, especially, okay, so obviously the Americans want me to have a green card in order to enlist. But that ain't happening. It sure as hell ain't happening. You know, if that were going to happen, I'd want dual citizenship. I'm not giving up, you know, my Canadian roots for anybody. And where would I live? What would I do in the time being between signing the papers and, you know, being in service? You know, freedom is a prison. It's true. Because like I've been reading different or keeping tabs on different groups of military units, or you know, you learn a lot about people through their humor, and so because that's part of culture, right? Is humor. So you know, the NCOs, which are the heart and soul of the military. It's not the officer corps. You know, officers come and go, but NCOs are forever. That kind of hurt. My spine. It's, as far as lumbars go, it's a little bit higher, closer to my ribs. It was excruciating yesterday. I couldn't even, or actually even this morning. You know, so for all of you that are suffering from back issues, you know, my heart goes out to you. You know, I'm amazed that I'm able to get up and walk around as I am right now. but that's only from the work I've put in with my fitness. You know, fitness is the best prevention to injury. You know, and before I went and got this book, I walked past where I appeared out of nowhere like a ghost, past the window of the recruiting office here in London. And for some reason I'm getting a pain in my knee right now, a phantom pain. It's weird. And the timing was just perfect, you know. Stare right in the eyes of one of the officers and then leave while they were leaving. Acknowledgement is worth more than money. And then this thing comes out where they're reducing the budget by $1 billion, and insult to injury, you know. Spy games almost. In this chapter, that's it. Sarah's from Morocco. And she says, she finds empowerment by wearing the headscarf, because it removes objectification. And it probably has something to do with the male gaze or whatever. Finding freedom. This is, and what I was going to say. There's never a good time to go to prison. You know, there's never a good time to walk into a recruiting office. You do it because either you need to, or you feel the desire to do it. And finding freedom through service, you know, that Starship Troopers thing. I'll be right back. Look how cute she is, eh? So what was I saying? There's never a good time to go to prison. You're cute. I'm not giving you a bagel. No. No bagel. So what's another thought about freedom? Freedom is belonging. It's family. Freedom itself can be terrifying. We have the freedom to make mistakes, to get into danger, What's promising is the freedom to understand our restrictions and limitations, to think about the boundaries and explore what draws us to construct cages. So too much liberty leads to slavery. Freedom is always a question of degree rather than absolute good that we do or do not possess. We can find ourselves behaving like sheeple, sleepwalking, and sheepling along at work or in our relationships. And then we may panic and begin to run away without understanding that this is what we're doing. Secret spending, affairs, drinking, taking drugs, indulging in unhealthy habits, even the compulsion to look at our phones incessantly, can all be signs that we long to escape where we are in the present moment. Conscious awareness of freedom in all forms can help us prioritize moderate dosages. What you may think as a freedom may not match how others think of freedom. The freedom that we want when we're young is not the same that we want when we're older. Chapter 7 is to create, the desire to create. So these all, you asked me, this is in the middle of the book. Attention, freedom, and creativity. All three things absolutely essential to an artist. Right? Isn't that right, Zoe? I said this, I posted something, a comment on one of Cecus's thesis. I said, fuck you. I stand by that statement. What is freedom for some people is a prison for others. And while we can't give attention to everyone, some are more deserving than others. Yeah. We'll see you in 2 chapters.